Hello, Kizomba friends. Just a quick notice before we jump into episode 9 of Kizomba Conversations. Now, we love speaking with our guests in the studio. However, we know that Kizomba is a global phenomenon and connecting with everyone in person isn't always possible. So that's why we're excited to bring you our very first online edition of Kizomba Conversations. We are thrilled to welcome the one and only Mr. DJ Gallo, all the way from Germany. So we hope you enjoy this online episode. Hello, Kizomba enthusiasts, and welcome back to another episode of Kizomba Conversations. As always, I'm your host, Victor, and we're back with another amazing guest. We have Mr. DJ Galo with us today. Now, his sets are amazing. His passion for and energy for Kizomba is out of this world, and you're definitely going to be moving your feet when he's on the decks. So let's welcome Mr. DJ Gallo. How are you doing, sir?
I am fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Kizomba Conversations. We need a lot more platforms or podcasts like this, get the Kizomba conversation going, expand Kizomba culture in its whole. So yeah, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much for this.
No worries. The pleasure is ours. And like you say, it's exactly about that. It's about the conversation. And we're trying to spread the joy of Kizomba to as many people as we can and interview great guests like yourself. And obviously you're a super DJ. So we're excited, very excited about what you got to say and your journey.
I've been blessed in a sense to say that I always say that Kizomba to me is a hobby that just happens to provide me with perks. I'm very humble for that. I'm not complaining at all. I've considered making it a full-time career, but due to its volatility, not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you've got a great hobby, a great hobby.
Yes, like I said, it's a very great hobby that provided me with awesome perks, and I'm very humble and thankful that it does.
Fantastic. All right, man. Well, let's get into it. Okay. Let's get into it and find out a bit about you. So what I like to do normally is I like to find out a bit about who you are. So even before we get into Kizomba, so talk to us, people watching, people listening, a bit about your background, family, where you're from, anything you want to share. So who is Mr. Gallo?
I am Gallo. Originally, I started in Kizomba scene as a DJ. Eventually, I progressed myself to an organizer as well. Where I'm from it's a little bit complex, but I'll just quickly run you through. I was born in one place. I grew up half in one place and half in another. Meaning I was born in Cape Verde and I grew up in Angola and Canada, right? In Angola was my childhood. My Canada was my youth and adulthood. That's basically all in a nutshell, right? But obviously I'm always in touch. My mom, she's Angolan and my father's Cape Verdean. I'm always some people say I have the best of both worlds in a sense when it comes to the Kizomba culture. And then, hey, I humbly take it. So yeah, I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very, very passionate about music, particularly Kizomba music. It's something that I grew up my whole life with. Needless to say, I can't just say I no longer want this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like I always try to say, I'm a DJ before anything else. Right.
Wow.
Before being an organizer, before being a Kizomba enthusiast, I am a DJ. Right. It just so happened that my specialty is African music, such as Kizomba.
Fantastic.
And yeah, that's basically in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So you are from the birthplace of Angola, basically.
Very correct.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I mean the birthplace of Kizomba, which is Angola. That's what I meant to say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. And you said you were in Canada as well for some time?
So Canada is where I basically it was my adult youth and adulthood was all in Canada, right? My mom immigrated to Canada. I was still early on, but now I'm currently in Germany. I know it sounds very. I'm currently in Germany because this is where I currently work here.
Yeah,
contract here, and still honor that out. But
fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Well, and Kizomba spreads to all those places anyway, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So talk to us then about DJing. How did you get into DJing and what drew you to it?
Okay, so now DJing, it started really early. So originally, my first paid gig was in 2004, but
Mm.
before that, in high school, what happened is I used to like to throw house parties, right? I used to like to throw house parties, and I'll just try to not take too much time to tell my story how I started. In high school, they always was a party committee, right? That will host the school dance parties, right? And I was never part of that committee because
Okay.
I was quote unquote the rival of the school. So whenever there was a school dance, I would throw my own house party,
Okay.
right? So I don't know. There was just something about me never being in tune with the school dance. So every time there was a school dance at my school, I would throw a house party. And surprisingly enough, all the kids would come to my house party,
Oh, wicked. That's
right?
good.
I know it would always happen like that. However, I had one. There was, I think it's like third year. This was grade 11. One of the teachers, which was a part of the party committee, he realized what was happening, so he calls me to be part of the party committee at school. I didn't understand at the time, but that was his way of kind of blocking me from doing my private party.
Mm.
I didn't get that at the time. I think that was doing a house. I think that it was basically a genius touch from his end that
Yeah.
he decided, hey, you know what? Why don't you be part of the party committee and we'll just let you run the whole thing. We have a
Yeah.
little budget here. You run
Yeah.
the whole thing. Just make sure keep everything PG, so on and so forth, right? I went on. I gave my all. I went on, and the only thing is this was a funny thing. I had flyers made. I made sure that there was flyers for the party. The only thing is school dance. You can only invite people from your school,
School.
but I was not thinking that. I was
Okay.
dropping flyers in a bunch of different schools.
Okay.
Long story short, a bunch of people were at our school dance from other schools, and it was not pretty. I mean, it was a great,
Um,
but afterwards, it's not pretty because, yeah, I kind of.
yeah. So
So
that's really good. That's really good. So you obviously had a lot of people attending those, right?
yeah,
When you
oh
do
yeah,
those
we have
parties.
more than we should because yeah, we have more than we should. Obviously, because kids from it wasn't all age. Back in the day, we would call it all age parties, right?
Mm. Mm.
From other school came that were not supposed to be there, and it was just a bunch of kids. It was
Mm.
a great part in terms of turnout. It was great, but the
Yeah.
principal wasn't very happy about all those kids. Moving forward from that, I was like, well, I've started continuing to do house parties, but my friends they were like, hey, why don't you start playing the music at your own house parties, right? And I would play the music at my own house parties, and it kind of progressed from there. That I actually had a neck I had a tune for music, for putting music together, so on and so forth, right? And it just continued to progress from there. Then I became this was pretty quick. I became the DJ, one of the main DJs for the Angolan community and the Cape Verdean community at the same time in
Oh wow.
right?
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
there was every time there was an Angolan Independence Day party, they would call me, or a Cape Verdean Independence Day party, they would call me. So it was like it kind of worked in my favor that way, right?
Yeah.
So that was that. And I also was hosting. The thing is, I would not be able to host good hip mainstream parties, right? Because the competition was just fearless, right? It's North America, me hosting a hip hop and R&B party and whatever. I would do it, but it would not have the turnout that I was always expecting,
Mm.
nor it was as I would like it to be, right? But every time I had like a Kizomba party, like a Valentine party or Halloween, we call it carnival party or carnival
Mm.
Kizomba party, the turnout was always great, right? So I was like, okay, maybe I should just stick to this lane.
Ah.
Yeah,
So you just, okay. Okay.
it
Okay.
wasn't by accident. It was actually by design. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna stick to this thing because not only I understand the music, I know the people. Because back in the days, you have to send text message to people say, "Hey, come to
Yes.
my party," right? So
Yeah.
it would speak to me more, to be very honest, right? Although I love hip hop, R&B, and all that, but Kizomba would always speak to me more because yeah, it would always speak to me more. So that's basically how I started as a DJ, right? Amateur DJ. That
Amateur DJ. Well, back at school, man, throwing those parties. That's wicked. That's a great story.
yeah.
So I want to ask you then. So because you mentioned Cape Verde and Angola and the communities. So So how was it bringing those communities together?
So
Did you?
surprisingly enough, not surprisingly enough, obviously the one thing that Angolans and Cape Verdeans have in common is the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Angola for a period of time consumed a lot of Cape Verde music, right? Like this was the era of Cabo Zouk, we call it, right? We consume even ghetto Zouk. We consume a lot of Cape Verde music, right? And that in itself, at home, for example, at home, my grandma always never spoke Portuguese. My grandma's from Cape Verde. She always spoke Creole. So at home, I would listen to something which is Cape Verde music. Whenever I opened the door to go outside, it was all Angolan music, right? And then sometimes, obviously, a lot of times I would hear the same music in and outside of the home, right? That sound that both of them have in common, whether it's Cabo Zouk or even Zouk, right? So that's the reason why it has never been difficult for me to be either in a Cape Verdean space or in an Angolan space. It has never been difficult for me. Yeah.
Fantastic, and that's great that you can cross-reference and do that. That's cool. That's great. So you also mentioned that you like other styles, hip hop. It just happens that you lend yourself well to Kizomba.
Right.
So, in your opinion, then, what sets Kizomba apart from other music styles? Why does it speak to you?
So, to me, in my personal opinion, it's just culture, right?
Yeah.
As I know, my adult and youth life was in Canada. However, there's the culture that you're born with. There's your literally day to day after school, right? And that would be listen to my mom's music or listen to my grandma's music, right? That's something that is instilled with me like from birth. So, and it was always every time I would go to a hip hop and R&B party or dance hall, it was great, it was cool, but it's there's not that sense of this is where I belong, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've always felt, hey, I can somewhat identify to this because this is my youth and so on and so forth. But there was never the sense of belonging, if you will. And every time I'm at a Kizomba party or a community Angolan party or Cape Verde party, I didn't have to do that exercise whether I belong here or not.
Okay.
It was just natural. That's where I belong. Right.
Okay. Yeah. So you fit into it. Okay. No, and that's amazing too. Yeah. So then, all right, I want to ask you a question then. So obviously we talked about, school, those parties, building that up.
Right.
So now you're becoming established DJ. And I know it's a hobby, but obviously you're doing it, and we see you all around the world, or you're DJing internationally.
Right.
So I want to bring it to not when it starts becoming work, but when it starts becoming, okay, right, this is almost like a profession now. So I'm trying to get to your first time that you DJ'd, and I want to know how that was, how the nerves were, and it's like, okay, yeah, what do we do?
The first time that I actually DJ'd and was paid for, like
okay, maybe I should have said that.
Because the Angolan parties, they would pay me, but it wasn't really for being a DJ. It was, they would give me the money to rent the speakers, to rent, and whatever's left over, you get to keep. It was never a national, okay, here we're paying for you to come here, put your music and get out. It was never that, right? So the first paying, so there was a club in Toronto, never forget the name, it called Trinport, because it was a Trinidad and Tobago club. Okay. Now, surprisingly enough, Trinidad and Tobago, they listen to Calypso and Zouk.
Yes.
They listen to that kind of music, right?
Yes.
I remember going to to the place once, and I heard Zouk. I was like, oh, I know Zouk. Right? And the thing about knowing Zouk is that at times, even the Caribbeans, they do listen to Angolan music too. They do listen to Cape Verde music. That's what I found out too, right? And at the time, one of the most popular songs that I didn't know that Caribbean peoples loved from Angola was Chiquinha Tarraxinha.
Ah, okay.
Surprising. The reason why I know that is because there I was at the club listening to them playing Zouk, Calypso, whatever, why not? And the owner, this guy, I talked to him. I'm like, hey, you know what? I know this music. If you ever want to DJ or whatever, I can come and play this music. He's like, where you from? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Angola and Cape Verde. He's like, Angola? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I love the song Chiquia. I was like, what is song that? He's like, Chiquia, the song Chiquia. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. shout for me. He's like,
Yeah.
Kia, Tarash. I'm like, oh, you know that?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And that's so, he's like, listen, then he's like, we have a Sunday nights
Yeah.
that is very dead
Nice.
here. If you
Mhm.
want to come, play some tunes, you know, and see how
Mhm.
people feel about it. I'm like, all right, perfect. So what I did, I was not counting on with his crowd, right? So what I did, I told all my buddies, like, because I was always hosting parties in the Kizomba and Cape Verde community. Like, I was like gassing myself up, telling everybody, hey, I'm now a resident DJ at this club. Everybody come through, blah, 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 blah. So I had some friends come in on Sunday, which obviously was beneficial for the club owner, right? Because I had like some people coming in and there I was just playing Zouk music, just Zouk. Just straight Zouk, Zouk, Zouk. And obviously from time to time I had to kind of play a little bit for my people that came to see me play. So, and then surprisingly enough, the owner liked my my Angolan slash Cape Verdean set more than the Zouk set. He's like, oh, I love the way you play, but I like when you play in this style more. You know, you see the people are vibing more. He was telling me basically that he likes Kizomba music more than Zouk.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So then, long story short, he said, okay, you know what? I think we should start doing once a month. And you could do once a month a night here on Saturday instead. Invite your people, blah blah blah, and then I'll pay you. That's when I first was paid, like quote unquote paid, to just walk in. Obviously, I had to promote DJ that.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I know where you asking me, how did the whole traveling start? This is the funny thing. Doing a Kizomba party or being part of a Kizomba, I've always been that, right? From early on. However, I never had the knowledge of the what we call a Kizomba festival world. I did.
Okay.
I had no knowledge of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I didn't even know that there was a different way of dancing Kizomba, if you will. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, of that. So I one time there was this friend of mine who said, hey, listen, there's some people that are hosting Kizomba parties now. You should come and check them out. It's like, really? It's like Kizomba. It was very surprising to me because it was Kizomba in Toronto. And at that time, no matter what Kizomba party happens in Toronto, I'm involved.
Okay.
It like the only thing is I didn't know that there was Kizomba outside of the Palop world. That was the thing. Because the Kizomba that was happening was outside of the Palop world.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's like there's no way that there's Kizomba events here and I don't know about it. Right? So I go to this place, and at the time is what they used to call it. They were dancing Kizomba French style.
Yes.
Call it urban kids. They used to call it French style.
Okay.
I walked in. I could hear the music. The music is they play mostly ghetto zouk, of course. Right?
Yes.
But I'm like, okay, I know the music that they're playing, so on and so forth. But I'm looking at the people dance. I was like, okay, there's something. I'm not. This is something different. I have no idea. I know that they're playing the music that I know, but I'm not sure what they're dancing. Right. So I even remember dancing. Someone asked me to dance because it's the disparity between men and women has always been from the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
Except in the Palop world, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So someone asked me to dance, and I'm like dancing the way I thought that's how you dance. She looked me dead in the eyes, like, "Oh, how long ago have you been dancing?" I'm like, "I don't know, my whole life." She's like, "Oh, you should take some classes." I was like, "Nah, listen." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, I think you should take some classes. If you want, I can recommend some instructors." It's like, what is happening? But anyways,
that's a whole different topic. But yeah,
it was. No, it was. So, but somehow when I left there, I didn't leave that place with this grunt or anything like that. I actually left that place more intrigued in a sense.
Okay.
What is this?
Yeah.
Now I wanted to know more because apparently there's another world of Kizomba that I'm not into. Just FYI, in Angola, there's people that still don't know that of this other world of Kizomba. Just on a different side.
Yeah.
Right. And I was very, very baffled, and I wanted to know more about this world. So I kind of I got in touch with the organizer of that party that got me in touch with other people. So I start kind of like going to see what's happening. And then I told him, hey, just so you know, I'm a DJ too. if you guys ever want it, I can play. And then what happened is the same person, the same lady that kind of got me in contact with everybody else. She was doing some sort of like she had a regular every other Friday she had a party.
Mm.
She decided to one party kind of to attract more people to do like a DJ battle type of thing. No prizes, but just like different DJs kind of battle, you know. And she's like, "Hey, you want to be part of this?" I'm like, "My style is different, but I'm sure I can figure things out." Yeah, so I went there. I started listening to what they're playing. They're playing mostly ghetto zouk, and I said, okay, if I play ghetto zouk here, I'm just gonna be like any other DJ. But I figure out from the get go, the people that are dancing this music, they're more into beats. That's something I figure from the get go. And I knew that if I play Kizomba, I'm probably just gonna clear the floor. That I knew from the very beginning, right? So I decided to play just Tarashian, like old school Tarashian, right? I decided to do that. People loved it. Like I went like straight old school Tarashian. People loved it because they never heard, like they know ghetto zouk, but a lot of them didn't know that the old school Tarashian, right? Like the DJs, Novias and stuff like that. And it's all beats, to be very, very honest, right? They loved it. They're like, "Where's this music from?" Blah, blah, blah. I had even people like trying to take pictures from I'm like, "You're not going to find that online." That time, you know, when the music was not online like that. I'm like, "You're not going to find. You can take all pictures that you want."
Not gonna get them. Yeah.
So yeah, from that, I progressed to my very first in Canada, we call it Congress, right?
Okay. Yeah.
My very first was this called Canada Congress. It's a festival that still runs today. It's a SBK, basically. It's a salsa bachata festival, right? This lady, again, she got me in contact with the organizer, and the organizer, they just needed a Kizomba DJ, basically, right? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go and do it. So I went long enough, and there was some people from the United States that came as well. So long enough, I went there, I played, people loved it. Some person from Cincinnati, she's like, "Oh my God, I love your music, blah, blah, blah. Would you be willing to come to this festival?" And then it just progresses from there, right? Because that's the thing about festivals. Every festival and I always tell my fellow DJs, every festival that you go, try to play as if it's your last. Because there will always be an organizer. And here's the thing, there will always be an organizer or future organizer. One of those two is going to, they might, if there's no organizer, there's somebody there that eventually will be an organizer, and they'll think of you if you live an everlasting moment with your set, right? So that's basically how, and that's another thing that I understood early on. I understood early on that there was always a contact. Every single festival that I would go, there was always a contact. There was always okay, now you can go here. Now you're going to go there. And it's just start progressing from there, right? It start progressing from there. And I mean, till the first biggest stage that I was in was Miami. That's when I was like, okay, now I'm here, right?
Yeah. So is that the Miami
Kizomba.
Beach?
Yeah,
Kizomba. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Remember, the headliner at the time was Nelson Freitas.
Oh, yes.
Nelson Freitas at the time was the epitome of the Kizomba world. It was Nelson Freitas and C4 Pedro.
Oh God, yeah.
Of Kizomba, if you will. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna share stage with him. This is a huge stage.
Yes.
Right? To me, Miami, was my I would say my very big stage. That it was Miami. My very first.
Okay, yeah. And you probably felt a bit of pressure there, right?
You do. Here's the thing. I feel like if you don't feel pressure, in my opinion, me personally, I need to feel pressure to perform well. That's how if I don't feel pressure, it's almost as if, I don't know, you feel basic. Personally, I feel basic if I don't have that pressure, right? I have the best DJs besides me, so I can be like, okay, now we're here, and I gotta show what I can do. When I don't feel that, I mean, I'm not saying that I'll play terribly, but I just feel like it doesn't. You don't have the same drive. Yeah. Right. You're going to go there and play your ABCs. People are going to love it, but you're not going to go with that animal instinct that today I have to put this on type of thing.
Beast mode.
Exactly. Beast mode. You don't go with the beast mode mentality. I mean, it's just me. I'm just speaking for myself. right?
Yeah. No,
I just
100%.
love when I have like beast DJs beside me. It
Yeah.
just literally forces me to go in the lab and figure stuff out and come up with my stuff too. Right?
And that's great. It's great, Gallo, because I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
you know, around, so obviously lots of DJs, and we're just talking about that now. We're talking about going beast mode. There's lots of DJs. They're all different, all come with something different.
Mhm.
So I want to find out what makes your style unique, because I've seen you DJ, and I love DJs when they're in their moment, they're behind the decks and they're just loving the music and they're just feeling it and it's just good. And I see your energy quite a lot. So, but what I want to find out is what you think makes you different or unique from, the people, your friends, your DJs, your fellow DJs.
I think two things, me personally. The number one thing is I like to dance.
Okay.
I like to, don't get me, you're not going to see me on a dance floor like all the time. It's just,
Yeah.
I like to dance, but I like to dance to the music that I like. I'm not a dancer that
Yeah.
just dances to any music that is playing. I like to
Yeah.
dance to the music that is speaking to me and dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I strongly believe like a good DJ has to be a good dancer because you're
Wow.
always considered to other people's, you're considered to other people's dancing. For
Yeah.
example, I think that this is how I think. Okay, if I was on a dance floor and this guy dropped this song right now, what is the next song that I would want him to drop? Me being a dancer, right? And that's how I always try to put my train of thought in terms of playing. If I
Yeah.
kind of like I'm playing thinking that, oh my God, I wish that you would play for me if I was on a dance floor.
100%.
That's my first take to it,
It's
right?
great.
A good DJ to me has to be a good dancer because you're always going to be considered of the dancer in front of him, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I never heard that before, and it makes complete sense.
Right.
Simple, but it makes sense, right?
So
So then, how do you go about selecting the songs?
select
You don't have to give away your secrets, but how do you go about selecting the songs
to
for
me,
your sets?
selecting songs. There's two things that I do either one or the other. The one thing that I always like, I don't like to repeat other DJ songs. I don't know why. I just don't like it. The one thing that I always like to do is just I can tell what songs the DJ played by the mood of his songs. Say, for example, if I walk in a room and the DJ is already halfway through his set, or maybe there's another 10 minutes through his set, I can kind of gauge what kind of what was his trip, if you will, musical trip, if you will.
Mm.
I can gauge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then I avoid going that route. I have to go a completely different route. But obviously, and normally when I take a completely different route, people usually gravitate to it just because we're now doing something
Something
different
different.
than
Yeah.
what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
We're now going because that's what people actually want within a night. Obviously, you want your ABCs, right? But
Mhm.
you also want to be taken on a different path a lot
Yep.
of times, right? Yes, when I walk in, hey, I want to hear the songs that I recognize, but you need to show me something different, right? You need to kind of like, and that's our engagement. And obviously, I like to always ask the DJs to see the story of their music, just so I don't
Yeah.
repeat the same. I walk in quickly, glance at the story. Hey, can I see?
Okay.
I glance at their stories. That way, I know when I glance at the story, then I know two things. I'm really not going to repeat the songs, and I'm really not going to be on the same atmosphere that he was,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? I always take it to like to take it to a different atmosphere. In terms of music selection, I mean, again, it plays back to my knowledge of music, right? My knowledge of music in the sense of you have a room with people of different tastes, right? Although they have different tastes, they all gravitate normally when it comes to they all gravitate to the bangers. Let's just say that because it's something that they know, they recognize that. But what I always try to do a lot of times is do that mental exercise. What song sounds like that banger?
Okay.
I always try to do that.
Yeah.
Which song sounds like that banger that they don't know? Right. And that's what I like to always go find it. Right.
Mm.
Because I like to always train myself in that sense. Let me see what song exactly like that one or has a little bit of a feel like that one. Right. And that's how basically I start building up. And every DJ will tell you that playing music, it's almost becomes like a puzzle.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out which one they jump to. Once you figure out three that they jump to, then you know where to go.
Oh, that's really good.
It's
Yeah.
just, okay, if you like this and you like this. Oh, for sure you're going to like this. Definitely you're going to like this, and then you just start going from there. Do you know what I mean? That's how basically I piece out my music throughout the night.
And this is great. This is exactly things we don't hear about. And obviously you're talking about look at the DJ, the list, and you look at that. You're not going to play that. Look at the timeline, all these things. We don't necessarily know that, but
Right.
it's really, really interesting, man. So that's really good, insightful. So on that, then, is there a song that hits that you can drop, and this song is going to hit every time, maybe regardless of the trail? Sorry, say again.
Regardless of the timeline.
Yeah. Is that you just like, okay, I know I'm going to drop this here. This is going to change the.
To be honest, there's different songs that do that.
Okay.
There's different songs that do that because of the nostalgia factor, right? What do I mean by that? For example, I'll give you a few examples. You know the song Alma Gêmea? I don't know if the É por ti que eu vivo. That's a song that's very danceable, if that's even a word, right?
Yeah.
And when that song came, everybody gravitated to it.
Yeah.
It's very melodic. It's very, you know what I mean? So that's a song that I know. Plus, here's the important part. Yeah, it's a sing-along song. That's important.
Okay.
So whenever you drop it, people are gonna want to dance. But even though they don't understand the lyrics, they can kind of mimic to that part. Everybody sings it, right? So I know for a fact that when you drop that song, people will dance to it because it has a sing-along a tune to it. So basically, even if a lady did not get a chance to get someone to dance, she will be kind of like bobbing her head to it, and then when that part comes, she will sing along. Right? So it has that two effect. Okay, I have the effect of dancing, but also have the effect of getting someone to sing along.
Yeah. Wow. See again. Yeah.
So that's one song that's the quickest example that I can think of the back of my head. Right.
Yeah. No, it's
people will think. Another song, for example, also songs that have a hybrid of very soft melody and not hard of it has a beat, but not hard of a beat. Example, the new song Quarters December. It's a song that although it's a samba song, but if you listen to it, it's for lack of better terms, modern samba. Because you have an electric, a very strong that sounds almost as a rock and roll, which anybody can identify with rock and roll, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you have the beat that is not too strong, is not too soft, it's just good enough. And you have who doesn't like a string guitar, a solo string guitar? Who doesn't like that? Do you know what I mean? So when you drop that song and the way that song started, boom, everybody's like, every time you drop that song, you're like, woo! It's like those are the songs that I call it. Those are iconic songs.
Yes.
The time of these songs, especially right now, that songs have like a very, very small time life, right? It has the time life of songs are very small now. Now, for you to find a song that can last at least 6 months, it's very hard, right?
Okay.
To find a song that, when I say last 6 months, I mean you're going to go to a festival for the next 6 months and you will hear it.
Hear that song.
You will hear it. When I say last, I mean when they drop it, you hear it as if it was yesterday when they heard it for the first time. They have the same energy and the same feeling when you drop it, right? Now it's very hard to find songs like that, right? In the early 2000s and mid to late 90s, a song would last at least 3 years sometimes, right? I mean, example, we still play the songs from I don't know a palop that plays and in his set there's not a 1995 or 98 or 99.
Come on, come on,
But today we have music enough for you not to play even a 1990 song. We have music, and yet we feel compelled to. I need to play something from the 90s. Right? It just doesn't sit well if we don't do it.
And if you're a true Kizomba lover and fan, you appreciate that. You know, that's, you know, you just hear the song, you're like, ah, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what it's about.
Exactly.
And that leads me on to my next question, actually. So nicely, because I want to ask you about how you make sure that you incorporate old school or traditional Kizomba
Mhm.
into your sets. I'm sure you know you obviously make it a mix, but people want different things these days. So how
So
are you making sure that you're keeping that traditional there?
So DJ pull-up DJs, I know when I don't need to look at a DJ just by hearing, even if I'm in the bathroom, just by
Mhm.
hearing a DJ, I'll know if he's pull-up or not.
Okay.
There's not even
Yeah.
I'll know just by hearing. The
Yeah.
reason why is because of this. I know every DJ when they play, they have to tell a story of what they're playing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, say, for example, there's a DJ that might want to play like a lot of ghetto zouk like this, or a lot of whatever it is,
Mhm.
the story that you're trying to tell. But Palop DJs, we have this confinement of playing our music. What do I mean by that? For example, there's a order, if you will, of music.
Mhm.
For example, if I start playing Cabo Zouk, right? I play one Cabo Zouk song. The next one has to be Cabo Zouk, and the one after that has to be Cabo Zouk. Do you see what?
Mhm.
We can't. You can't play one Cabo Zouk song and then go to Kizomba and then go to. You can't do that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know that if he's a palop, if I hear 3 Cabo Zouk songs in a row, I know that he's palop because we stay there.
Okay.
You gotta give me, because the songs are kind of like the same, not the same rhythm, but they have almost the vibe
Yeah.
is almost the same in the nostalgia
Yeah.
of the songs. So if you play 1, 2, you gotta give me at least 4 or 5, depending, or you might give me your whole set, just depending. But I know for a fact that you can't give me one of this and then switch to something else. We don't do that, right? Same idea. If I start playing coladera music, for example, think of this. Do you see how you've done coladera music, right?
Coladera?
Yeah. Coladera has a bouncy feel to it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Coladera music has a bouncy feel to it. So as a dancer, again, this is me being a dancer speaking. As a dancer,
Yeah.
if I'm dancing styles of music that will make me bounce, and then you shift on me right after the next one, don't get me wrong, the song might blend. It's a mix. You can mix it, but it kind of disrupt my dancing flow. Right? Like, say, for example, if I'm dancing to Nya Príncipe, the song, ay, ay, Nya Príncipe, it's
Mhm.
a song that has like a, and then you put Caro, Caro, Caro,
Yeah.
it disrupts my flow when it comes.
Okay. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But if
Yeah.
I give you 1 coladera, 2 coladera, 3 coladera,
Okay.
4, right?
Yeah.
You're still on the same groove, and then I can change it, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
Yeah.
It's much easier for you as a dancer to appreciate that. That's how
Okay.
we think, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically what I was trying to say. And same idea goes for any style of music that we play. If we start playing zouk, that's where we have to stay until we call it. I sometimes we even say, whenever we're switching, whenever I'm switching with a palop DJ, if I see that he just played 2 zouk songs, I need to let him go to like a third or fourth. And when I start, I have to pick up where he left off. Right, unless he had already finished that set, and then I let the whole thing die down so I could start on a new path, right? But
Yeah.
if you just started and then you kind of like disrupt that, you're not doing a service to whoever, me as a dancer. I don't feel like you're doing a service to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's basically the mentality as far as what kind of music are we, how do we play more kizomba or more ghetto zouk or whatever. It's same thing. If I start on a ghetto zouk path, I need to stay here. And especially when it comes songs that have more traditional feel, right? If I'm playing kizomba with more traditional feel, I cannot jump to ghetto zouk. I can't. Right? I need to let that phase out, that part of my set phase out, right? And you could tell why, because as you playing, we're looking at the dance floor, right? I play 1 kizomba, people are like jamming on the dance floor. 2, still good. 3, they still here. 4, they don't want to leave. I need to stay here for a minute.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they're dying for it. When I see that, okay, now I see that people are kind of like slowly running away, it's telling me, okay, you need to switch the style over here. People kind of like, okay, it was great, but now we want something else. that's when I can give myself the audacity of changing the style, right? And obviously you can change the style either by raising or lowering the BPM, or completely just let the music die down and start a new, you know what I mean? A new style of track. That's basically how I know when to.
This is so, like I say, this is so insightful. I'm learning so much, and obviously the next time I go out now, which is going to be next week, I'm going to be listening to the DJ, and I'm going to be looking for all these things inside. I'll be like, wow, but no, this is amazing. This is really, really cool to hear, because it's an art, like anything. It's, you know, you do professionally. There's an art to it, right?
Right.
And obviously, I've been dancing for some time. Well, I say trying to dance for some time, but I love this dance,
Right.
and just knowing what goes on behind the scenes, you know, getting people moving is really, really,
Right.
really interesting.
I always try to say the art of DJing, especially Kizomba, it's like if people would take the time to actually go behind the scene or appreciate like thoroughly, you guys be amazed of the things that DJs have to do to please, or even the thing is not even to please the crowd. Here's the thing: a lot of people think that DJs are trying to please the crowd. No, I never try to please the crowd. I'm trying to please the party. I don't know if that makes any sense. Every time I try to please the crowd, it never suits me a purpose. It never goes well. But if I'm trying to please a party, it always works. By party means that I'm going to create an atmosphere that, regardless of the mood that person was, I'm able to blend that person in to whatever atmosphere that I'm trying to create. To me, I'm more successful that way versus trying to please a crowd, because when you please crowd, you're going to start looking for individuals. I don't know if I'm making sense. What does this guy like? What does that? This guy looks a little bit more mature. She looks a little bit more young.
Okay.
You're going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
Like I like to please a party.
Makes sense.
Pick where you want to take this party to, and that's where you're gonna go.
Makes total sense, man. Total sense. So great. Now talk to us then about good nights, bad nights. So you must have had some great nights, but you must have also had some nights you thought, oh man,
absolutely.
What was that?
Good nights. Here's the thing. I know most people would say a lot. Not most people. I say a lot of people would think that a good night is a night that is full of people. Not with me. I mean, to me, I've had nights there was only like 5 couples dancing, and it was one of the best nights I've had.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
So the thing, to me, a good night is when you actually connect through and through with the people that are dancing. You guys are vibing to the same energy, and you can feel it. And just so you know, we do love when you guys give us props in the middle of our set. It does.
Okay.
I know people think that, oh, no, it does. Every time you guys are dancing, they're like, listen, that's that. Honestly, I have yet seen a DJ. Well, rarely, it can happen, but rarely I've seen a DJ that people are giving him props, and then he drops in performance. The more props normally what happens, the more props you give a DJ, the more his performance like skyrockets. Because now he gets in the zone.
Yeah.
You're telling him, listen, what you're doing, keep good. So he's not gonna fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So going back to the question, a great night is when we all in tune.
Yeah.
I'm actually in tune with, doesn't matter how many people are on the floor, but we are in tune. They're vibing to exactly and they give you the props. That's a great night. Terrible night is exactly the opposite to me. I don't even care about the sound, because it might be nights where there's some technical difficulties. I promise you, there's nights that I've had terrible technical difficulties, but then when the party started, it was one of the best nights ever. People didn't even remember that we had a 5 minutes long technical. Didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
So nothing like that. Again, to me, the terrible best night is when you're in tune with people, and the terrible night is when you guys are just not in tune. Right?
Yeah.
And you can feel it. You as a DJ, I don't know any DJ that cannot feel when he's not in tune with the people. Like, your music is all over the place. You know what I mean? You're just not. We can feel it when we're not in tune. We can feel it, right? So that, to me, that's a terrible night.
100%. And just what we were talking about with the technical difficulties, because obviously it's great that people forget it But when that moment happens,
Right.
the music just stops and everybody just turns around and looks at you.
And
What is this?
they will look at you for anything.
Yeah.
As long as the music's, the music once stopped for me because someone over there kicked the cord, the power cord. Oh,
Yeah.
nothing to do here. They kicked the power cord over there and music stopped. Everybody's going to look at me. Once
Yeah.
the power went off, the
Yeah.
entire power of the building, and they were looking at me as if I was
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
the power, right? I mean, it has happened. There's times that technical difficulties to me are part of DJing. I'd say that they should happen to every DJ because it's not the fact that you had a technical difficulty, is how did you bounce back out of it.
Exactly.
That's all it is. People won't care. And the thing about technical difficulties in the world of music, we have a saying that when the song stops for 30 seconds, it feels like 5. When it stops for 5 minutes, it feels like 5 minutes. When it stops for 5 minutes, it feels like an hour because it's silent, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, most technical difficulties, and people don't believe in that, they never go more than 2 minutes. It just feels that way.
It just feels like a long time.
Everything is quiet. Everybody is awkward. I mean, an awkward moment, if you will, normally doesn't take that long, right?
Yeah.
But it just feels like it's forever because it's here, right?
Yeah.
Awkward moments, they probably take like a few seconds, but at the moment it feels like, oh my God, this is not ending. You know what I mean? And that's how technical difficulties are.
Especially, right? If you know what we were talking about before, when you were talking about the mixing and making sure they're in the zone and people are feeling it, and then you drop a banger and then it just stops. You're like, what?
Yeah, right in the middle of your peak, the music drop is like, oh my God, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about how you bounce back out, how you bounce back from that, right?
Yeah.
Make a joke, whatever. I like do it. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, you're there to entertain.
Yeah.
Entertainment can come in different forms, right?
Yeah.
Especially when the song goes away.
Yeah. No. Okay. Pressures of being a DJ, man. Pressures, but it's all good. Resilience, bouncing back. Okay. This is great. So, all right, I want to move on to talk to you about your personal music experiences then, yeah?
Right.
And this is more just around Kizomba as a whole. And you said it, obviously, it's a hobby and you do it now quite a lot. But how has it shaped your life? Might be a bit of a serious question, but how has the impact of Kizomba influenced your own life?
So
really?
Kizomba influenced my life in three aspects. The number one aspect was cultural. Because we never speak of culture in the Palop world, if that makes sense. Because
I'm just conscious of some people might be new listening to the podcast. So when you say Palop, just very briefly, just say so they can understand.
Palop means countries that speak Portuguese, right? African countries that speak Portuguese. That's what Palop means. Países africanos mean African countries of Portuguese language. That's
cool.
Palop means, right? So going back to what I say, I never had to I never have to think or remember or speak about culture within the Palop world. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, because we're just being. I never had to speak about the styles of Kizomba, the way of within the Palop parties. I never had to do that, right? So, and that's where, and when I migrated to the Kizomba festival world, now I had to speak on that. Right, because you have to speak on that because now you see that there is something different here, and there's a lot of miscommunication as far as what is what, right? Because in the Palop world we just know it, right? The best example that I can give is like, say for example, you never has anybody ever questioned how do you walk?
No,
just walk,
yeah.
But now imagine that you go somewhere where people actually are flying and walking. That makes any sense, right? Now you have to be confronted with the fact of how do I walk?
Yeah.
Right. So that's in the best way that I can think possibly, right? So when I became part of the Kizomba festival world, now I had to And I didn't even know that I had a lot of knowledge, because that is the word is, it's not that the knowledge was never tested. There was no need. It was just something that I knew, right? Like those things were my day to day. And
Yeah.
because it was my day to day, I never had to explain someone what is what.
Yeah.
In the Kizomba, I had to explain. For example, the best example that I can give you is, let's just talk about Tarashinha, right? In the Palopro, I never had to explain someone, hey, you know what? We use Tarashinha to pick up girls. I know people don't like to hear that, but that's the reality. Tarashinha music, it was mostly that's the reason why you only dance Tarashinha with either, in the Palopro, with either your mate or somebody that you're interested. And that's a communication that is mutual across the board, right?
Yeah.
But now here on this side, now I have to explain that, right? And people, and when I explain that, people are like, oh wow, really? I'm like, well, and then I have to do that memory train. That no, they don't know that. So stop. Because I kept forgetting that I'm not talking to people that grew up and were born with the same thing as me.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to always train myself and be like, no, they really don't know that. Right. And they might even push back in knowing the whys and why this, why that. Right. And that's what, because a lot of times just giving the information, it's superficial.
Yes.
It's fun. It's quick. Boom. There you go. Why is this called a virgula? You can give the information. Sorry. This is a virgula. You gave the information. It has more. It has more value. It has more. It plays more impact when you explain the why behind it. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
I never knew that I knew the why. I knew the whys until I start actually talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Because the why was a day-to-day event for me.
Yeah.
Right? It was a day-to-day. I would go to a party and I'm gonna ask her to dance Tarashinha. And if she says yes, chances are she's single. That's just what it was. No woman that has a man and her man is in the vicinity will dance Tarashinha with you if she's not single. They're not gonna do that. Do you know what I mean? So that's the why. I knew the why, but it was always in there. But now I have to explain that to a different demographic. I have to say, hey, for us, no woman will dance Tarashinha with you unless she's not interested in you. Do you see what I'm saying? So that has more value in terms of explaining what is what, right? So
yeah. You know, as we're talking, I'm thinking you're gonna have to come back and do another episode because we've got so much. We got urban kids. We didn't say the word, but we've got that to talk about. We've got Tarashinha to talk about. We've got different styles of music. But anyway, I'm gonna keep it focused for right now.
As you can see, Kizomba, it's just this library of all kinds of information from present, past, and future. Right. So I'm
Okay. So all right, still on musical preferences. So that's one thing. Then so you talked about the fact that to be a good DJ, you got to be a good dancer, right?
I personally believe in that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So I just want to find out from you then. So obviously you like to dance. So what's kind of your preferred, or what do you like more? Kizomba, Semba, Zouk, Tarashinha? What gets you going?
So me, it's not about whether for Semba, Kizomba. Me, it's about BPM for me.
Okay.
Okay, let me rephrase that. BPM and obviously what speaks to me. Right? What I say, for example, I can't dance slow song for 2 periods. I can't. To me, it's too. I don't want to say boring, but I will saturate faster if I'm on a slow pace song. Like I'm a very energetic person. That automatically, if I'm dancing, I don't know if you know the BPMs of the songs, more or less, right? Songs that BPMs like, so for example, a song that starts with 95, it's already like very, once you start getting to your hundreds, and that's a little bit more fast paced. Kizomba, a lot of them, they would begin from 100 to 104, if you right? Not to say that there's no Kizomba with 10, but I'm saying a lot of them, that would be the range, 100 BPMs to 105 BPMs. A lot of Kizomba, like the vast majority of Kizomba, that's where the range is going to be. Of course, and I say Kizomba that I like.
Yeah.
speak to me to dance, that's
Yeah.
what it would be. Between 100 and 105, because it's very energetic and so on and so. Not to say that there's no 90 or 95 Kizomba energetic. There is. It's just that in my experience, the vast majority of songs that will get me to are a little bit more fast paced, right? That's basically it. So it doesn't matter whether it's Kizomba, Coladera, Zouk. If I'm in that range, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so you're good to go. So you like the energy.
Exactly. I like.
So you like fast Semba then as well?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Say for example, I could do samba for like a few. The thing about for example, we have three types of samba, for example, right? I know that the misconception is out there that if it's fast, it's samba. That's not true, right? It's all this, we have different styles of samba. For example, we have samba de carnaval, which is for carnival. It's some people dance it, but I wouldn't dance samba de carnaval, to be very honest. It's more like a carnival feel per se.
Yeah.
Right. Then there's what they call a samba social, which sounds a little bit like Kizomba. It has almost the same feel as Kizomba, if you will. Samba, it calls samba social or cadenciado. I don't like the word cadenciado. Cadenciado means cadency, means samba cadency. I don't like. I have a big side note. I have a big war with this way of naming samba. The reason why is because when you say samba with cadency, you are implying that there's samba without cadency.
Okay.
Every music in the world, as long as it's music, has a cadency.
Okay.
Every music has a cadence, whether it's whatever music has cadence. When you say samba cadenciado, you mean samba with cadency. You implying that there's samba without cadency, and there's no such thing.
Okay.
I don't like the name samba. I rather people call it samba, social samba, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that. And then there's samba show.
Yes.
Normally, samba shows tends to be very fast paced. Right, which allow the kids to do like all these tricks, so on and so forth. Right.
Yeah.
Now, samba show, I could dance a few. When I say a few, I'm talking about 3, 4, 5. After that, I'm cool. I'm good on it. Right. I'm done. I like to be. That's my range. I like to be on that range.
Like be on that range. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Mama and Papa range.
Hey, that's fine. So personal preference. So
yeah. That's
but enjoy the music, man. That's cool. All right. So that's interesting to know. That's interesting to know. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then
again, that's the other ones. But if you want to really keep me on the dance floor, you're playing good zouk, good kizomba, good coladera, whatever, even samba, but in that range, you'll keep me. You'll be there. You'll be there. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one for your fellow colleagues to listen to.
Awesome.
So that's cool. All right. So, all right, still preferences. So this is a slightly different kind of range of questioning, but this is more about you when you're DJing, okay? And when so let me go back a second, because you said that you like it when people give you props, or DJs like it when people give you props. So that's cool. That's one for us to note as dancers, right? And we should do that more. So that's cool. But what are some of the things that we need to be mindful of and that you don't like? So for instance, do you like...
Don't ask for a request.
That's the question. So my question literally was, the question is, when people come up to you about requests, you don't like that, no?
Personally, here's the thing. You will never know that I don't like it. You'll know now.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't like it. The reason why I don't like it is because this is, to me personally, I find that it's a way of demonstrating that you do... this is how I see it. I know people say, yeah, but I really want my song to play. I get that. But to me, in a way, you're being, there's a little bit of lack of awareness that person might, not only there's other DJs that are going to come after him, he has a musical voyager happening right now. And your song, chances are, and this is the funny thing that I always tell people, 7 out of 10 times, your song will not be part of his musical journey. It will not. Do you know what I mean? And now you might find a DJ that really wants to please the person here. He will have to disrupt his, especially if he's on fire. I mean, don't get me wrong. If your song just happens to be part of what he was doing, brilliant. But a lot of times, I promise, it won't.
Okay.
A lot of times it won't be part. And now you asking him to disrupt his musical trip, if that makes any sense. Like you literally telling, hey, I don't care. Yes, great, you playing great music. I don't care none about that. You need to play my song to satisfy me. I don't even know that there's other people that are loving what you're doing right now. Just play my song. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
I feel like people, I know it sounds very harsh by saying that. That's the part that people sometimes don't have that lack of don't have have a little bit of lack of awareness in that sense, right? Don't get me wrong. I don't feel any type of, I don't get upset or anything like that when people ask me, right? Uh, but I feel like people, that's something that I want people to start training themselves. When you go ask DJ to play a song, especially if he is in the zone, you literally are requesting for him to disturb what he's going through, right? And also, not only you're going to ask him to disturb, you actually disturb him, because a lot of times I'm like in a zone. I now have to stop concentrating here, because obviously we as a DJ, we have, as we play music, we start creating what we call a library of music in our head. Because a lot of times, even though we have a playlist that we want to play, sometimes it doesn't work. So it's better for you to go off the top of your head. Okay, I play this song. They're definitely going to like that type of song. So you start creating a library in your head. When somebody comes and you're in the middle of executing that library, right? You're executing that library as you play. So when somebody comes and talks to you about a song, you have to look at that person and listen to what they're saying. You have to take, oh, do you have that song? What? You have the song? Can you play that song? Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds like pretty quick, but that moment there, it will be enough just to derail you from where you were. It is enough, right? So that's the thing that people don't. I actually tell people, if you're really keen on to asking someone's music, find a way to send it online. Find a way to do that. If you really want a DJ to play your song, if you're that adamant about a DJ playing your song, go online and drop them a message. Hey, I really like this song. Is there any way that you can play it in a set? Do that. Do you know what I mean? Because DJs appreciate that much more than in the moment. Because now you're making the thing about you, about your likes, about what gets you going, not what gets everybody else going. Again, I didn't mean to rant on this, but that's just
No.
I feel in terms of requests.
It's not a rant, so it's literally a question that I wanted to ask, because I want to ask you and obviously your fellow peers, because I see it a lot, and I'm just wondering, I'm just literally what you're saying. I'm thinking you guys are in a zone, but I don't know. Some people might be okay with it. Everyone's different, right? But it's just we need to be aware of what you guys are doing, because you're responsible for the night and you're focused on that.
Is that okay with doing that? There, I'm okay with that. Me is this. I'll take what you told me.
Yeah.
I might not, but I promise you, if your song is part of if your song is part of my set, it will go. Or because a lot of times it might happen that the song that you want me to play,
You already have it. Yeah.
Not only I have it, it actually goes well with my set.
Okay. Yeah.
It gives an extra, then I'll definitely play it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and go out of my way to if it's not part of my set, I'm not gonna go out of my way and play your song. I'm not. You might be upset about that, but it is what it is. I mean, a party is not designed for one person, right? The especially festival. Festival is designed for tons of people, right? So
100%.
That's how I personally feel.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, we asked the question, you answered it, and you given a solution about going online, because, hey, you can still get what you want if you do it that way. So,
absolutely. As a matter of fact, I tell people, you have a higher chance of a DJ playing your song if you DM him, or even on a page that everybody's going there and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You have a higher chance to have your song played that way. At least with me, your chances are way much greater that way than coming and buzzing on someone's ear. You shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Well, this was again my next question, but you can all link it in. Do you like people coming up to you saying hi? I've seen some. Hey, look, it's all good. Everybody, we're all there to party, but I've seen people behind the DJ booth dancing with the DJ.
I love when people say hi. I really do. I love when you say hi. But here's the funny thing: I can see you here. You can say hi. I can see. I don't know if you can wave at me and say hi, and we'll acknowledge each other. I just find it sometimes I find it unnecessary for you to come all the way here, right? And I'm like in a zone playing, whatever, and then you're like, hi, and then because a lot of times a hi is never just a hi, right? It's always, hi, what time did you get here? Blah, blah. It's always like, there's always that little extra, because if it was really just a hi, you're here, hey, it's I will acknowledge you. But when you come here besides me, it's, to me, at least in my experience, it's never just a hi. There's always an extra convo on that. Oh my God, you're here. Yes, I'm here. Oh my God, how long are you staying here? And then, do you know what I mean? It's always, that's how I feel. It's always,
Yeah, that's totally fine, and that's why I'm asking the question, because so we're bringing it back to the purpose of it, and the purpose is for you to understand. Well, for us to understand what you guys do, because we know you're professionals. You're in a zone. You're trying to give us a good night. So, what do we need to be mindful of? What do we need to avoid with with you guys? So that's what we're trying to get at here. So,
to me,
that's cool.
things that, like I said, be mindful of whenever you decide that you're going to go ask for a song to be played.
Yeah.
Be mindful of that. That's for the reasons that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
The say hi is exactly the same idea. Be mindful that when you decide to come all the way here, you're going to have a mini conversation with the person and you'll disrupt things. Whether you, again, I'm sure people never do that intentionally. It's never intentional. I know that. Even people that ask the request, it's never intentional, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I said just try to be mindful of things like that.
Yeah. 100%.
Those are the two main things to me personally that I want people to be mindful of.
Yeah, cool. And we're learning. We're taking education. So
very, 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 very important. We have feelings too.
Yeah,
what I mean
exactly.
by we have feelings? Sometimes you might happen to see people's facial expression on the dance.
Yeah, on the dance floor. Okay.
Honestly, say something. I always try to tell people, it might not sound like, yes, we're entertainers, we're happy, but we have feelings too. And those looks, they actually things the same. Remember how I told you, the same way that whenever you come to us and give us props, you boost us up.
Yeah,
The same thing happens when you start rolling your eyes. That brings our performance lower as well.
Okay.
It does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So those are the things that, and some people are very, very expressive on a dance floor. So be mindful of things like that. We might pretend that we don't see, but we do see it, right?
Yeah.
We drop a song like, oh my God.
100%, man. 100%. Right. This is Kizomba Conversations. This is what we're talking about, right? It's exactly what we need to know. So, yes. Okay.
That's the thing that I would say people just to be mindful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. All right. That's cool. All right. So, let's talk about this wonderful dance community that we have in Kizomba, because obviously it's vibrant, it's big, it's just big, man. It's since I've been dancing, which is a long time. I think it's probably started in 2009 or 10. Like, it's a long time, and it's just evolved. Okay,
it's gotten big.
It's great.
Big. I love it. Don't get me wrong. There's times that for lack of better terms, that I am disappointed. There's times that I'm disappointed, but I never for 1 second thought of quitting or getting out of it, because I know that one thing that I wish I have a conversation with friends of mine that, and this is an exercise that I want most pallops to do, is to, and I blindly believe in that. Kizomba, as in the festival format, it's now a culture, not even a subculture. It's now, and this is the. I know a lot of us pallops always say, "Oh, this is my culture, this and that," but we keep forgetting one important thing. Our culture, what we have in our mind as our culture, is mostly what we learned back home.
Yes.
And Kizomba in the festival format it's nothing remotely, like there's some there besides the music, let's say the music and some way of dancing, yes, but everything else, it's nothing to do with what we know Kizomba back home.
Yeah.
So that alone tells me that Kizomba in a festival format has become its own culture. The reason, think of this: there's a lot of people that do it all over the world, right? It keeps changing, like the dance keeps switching here and there. There is a format. There's an etiquette. That's the word that I was looking. There's an etiquette whenever you go to a Kizomba festival. For example, you know that on Friday you have to dress like this. On Sunday you have to dress like that, and on Saturday you're going to dress like that. If you know that these days you have to dress like that, what are you going to do on your day to day? You're going to go buy clothes on your day to day to dress. That's a culture. Am I understand? I don't know.
Yeah. I totally get it. Yeah.
You also know that, okay, you know what? I need to dance as a woman. I want to dance with that guy, because dancing with the great dancers will improve you. That, these
Yeah.
nuances, these little nuances,
Yep.
that builds up. Furthermore, we have. I'll give you an example. If you right now give me a name of a country. Pick a country. Doesn't matter where.
The only thing that's coming to me is Angola. I don't know, that sounds crazy, but yeah.
Right from Angola, pick a country. Even in Europe, whatever. Just pick a country.
Poland.
Poland. Okay, perfect. If you travel right now to Poland and you grab your phone and you go to Facebook or whatever social media and you type in, "Hey, Kizomba people that dance Kizomba, I'm in Poland. Can anybody tell me where can I go to dance Kizomba?" Do you think people will answer to you?
Yeah.
They will answer to you. Who's going to answer to you?
So people who are in the know.
So people in your community of Kizomba, that's culture. That's culture. It's no different than me going to somewhere and say, "Hey, does anybody know where can I eat? What restaurant they sell fufu here? Where can I go to eat fufu? I'm from Nigeria. I want to eat fufu in this country. Where do I go?" That's cultural. Somebody will answer you, say, "Oh, go to that restaurant." It's no different. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It has its own set and rules. Plus, whenever you go to festival, what is the main goal? The main is to social. We say socialize, but the idea is to dance as much as possible, right? And in Angola culture, whenever there's a party, the idea is not to dance as much as possible. No. In Angola and Opalop culture, whenever there's a party, the idea is to go to the bar, have a few drinks, talk. Dancing, surprisingly, is the cherry on top of the cake. See that? Like those are the difference in settings, if you will, right? Like, for example, you're never going to go to a Palop party and see people changing shoes from the regular shoes to the dancing shoes. You're not going to see that. And if you see that, you'll see everybody in the party looking at that person. You see my point? Everybody's like, "What is happening?" Right? Meanwhile, that's the most natural and common thing in the Kizomba festival setting. People arrive with their bags, they'll change their shoes. Do you know what I mean? So that's all of these all of these components together, they build a community. And whenever you have a community, there's going to be a culture within that community. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reason why I say that Kizomba, and I really want my peers, like whether Angolans and Palops, I want them to kind of train themselves that Kizomba in a festival format, it's its own culture. Yes, it born out of the influence of Kizomba in its format in Angola, but in outside of the Palo, it is its own culture. Like, it is its own culture, because we don't go to the social setting the same way. You don't see people in Angola buying outfits for Saturday, wearing samakaka on Sunday, like African print on Sunday. We don't do that, right? Things you don't see there being a chat room just for that, or a chat room just. Do you know what I mean? These things, and the problem that we Palop have is that we always, for lack of better terms, is attack people for not doing the correct way, when in fact you asking someone that has a different set and culture to do yours. They're not in yours. I don't know if I'm making sense.
They don't know any better, so that's what it is.
What you grew up with, they're not part of that. They're
exactly
part of this, but you want them to be part of. You want them to act the way they are here. Here. Does that make any sense?
100%, and it totally makes sense. It's even, I know that, I had some conversation with some friends, we're Western, I'm not going to say westernized, but it's just a different way of growing up. So some of them would get upset because, they'll go out and there'll be some palette girls there. They ask them to dance, and it's like, hey, dude, literally everything you were just saying about the culture, right? That's why they're saying no, it's different.
It's important. Like, for example, I when I grew up dancing Kizomba in the Palop setting where I grew up, the most normal thing that can happen to a man, the most normal thing that can happen to a man in Kizomba is a woman to tell you no whenever you go ask to dance. That in normal, the way it works is this: you're going to get about 5 to 6 no before you get a yes.
Yeah.
And normally, if you're getting yes, it's usually people that you already know. Your friends. If you go here, they say yes, that means they know each other. We're talking about complete stranger. Or you will get a lot of no's. And it's normal. It's normal. But in this world, that's not a normal thing. It's actually, for lack of better terms, poking the ego, if you will. Right? Because if a guy gets a no from a girl, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Right? Yeah. Or even if a girl, I'll say even when a girl asks a guy to dance and he says no, they feel some type of way.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not in favor nor against the whole saying yes or saying no. I'm not. But that's how this setting works. That's how they work.
Exactly.
On our setting, we work completely in a different ways. And remind you that as we didn't get no, the way that women would tell us no is not just, oh, no. Because in the Kizomba festival setting, if a lady tells you no, she'll be very polite about it. As a matter of fact, I bet you anything that most women don't say no just because they're afraid of the future ramification. I don't know if I've seen ladies that she's tired. She danced right, left, and center. A guy comes and asks her to dance, and I can look into her. I can see in her face that she wants to say no.
Yeah.
But I know at the same time, oh my God, I've spoken to ladies that they told me, oh, I didn't say no because later on I might have want to dance with him and he's gonna use that against me, or he's other friends.
Yeah.
Well, it's that thing, right? Meanwhile, on the other side, you're supposed to get no.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't even, like I said, the ladies are very polite when they tell you no. They say, oh, if they get to the point of telling you no, they'll tell you an excuse that even you feel bad about it. On our side, no, they don't even say. They look at you up and down and like, they don't. They're rude about it. They're like, you ask, can we dance? She looks at you up and then like, keep moving. Like literally. So like I said, those are the different nuances, and I want us to kind of be more in tune of what are we demanding from where, right? Where are we to demand certain things, right?
Yep.
If we want, say for example, if people are coming to the Palop setting, if they're all coming to the Palop setting, then I can demand for them to do certain things the way we do it.
Yeah.
Right. But now, if we're going to, if we're together creating a new setting, if that makes any sense, because we didn't go there and they technically didn't come here either. The Kizomba in the festival setting, it was created together, because remember that Kizomba rooms only started in the salsa rooms, right? There was a salsa party. Now you create a Kizomba room. So that means we created this together, if you will. We created together. So if we create it together, then there's got to be a give and take.
Absolutely.
Dynamic, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? There's got to be a give and take dynamic. That's how I feel in respect to that.
Yeah, and I think the underlying thing from this part is just cultures are different. That's the main point here.
Absolutely. Different. They're to be respected. I always tell people, if you really want to be part of the Angolan or the Palop culture, you got to respect how it comes. You can't just take the good and then, no, I don't want the bad. No.
Yeah.
You got to get everything. This is not a buffet that you get to pick and choose what you want and then, you know what I mean? And then discard what you don't want. No. If you really want to be part of it, because I mean, as you know, there's no culture in the world that everything about it is beautiful, is great. Yeah. We're not attracted to everything about everybody's culture. There's things that within a person's culture that you love. Oh my God, this is very. But there's things that we're like, no, I don't really like this, right?
Yeah.
But if you decide that you're going to be part of that culture, that's what it is.
100%.
You got to embrace all its form the way it comes, right? The good, the bad.
100%. Cool.
All right. So, random question: what's the most unexpected place you've seen Kizomba danced at?
Ooh, yes. Most unexpected place that I've seen Kizomba being danced, Asia. Yes, Asia.
Yeah.
South Korea, to be precise.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you expect salsa because salsa has like a huge popularity, right? And bachata, I'll even say bachata because now bachata has this explosion and this and whatnot. But I would not expect Kizomba, quote unquote, and that was even Cambodia, for example.
Mhm.
Nepal, places like Nepal, Cambodia, the ones that really shocked my mind is Korea, Nepal, Cambodia. Where else? There was one, but it's mostly Asia, to be very honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's in line
Right?
because I spoke to another DJ and
China too.
yeah, but it was Japan, he said.
You see what-
So, but this is the thing, right? Because you're Angolan, Gallo, so you're from there, but your dance is just taking over the world, and it's going into it's amazing.
Absolutely. I must again. I'm happily surprised.
Yeah,
The better wording is I am happily surprised that it's actually that Kizomba now exists in these places. I'm happily surprised. Yeah, I must.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm from Ghana, which is not too far from Angola, but we have high life. Yeah, we have high life. We have Afro beats, but man, I wish we had Kizomba too. But hey, it's all good.
There's one Ghana now.
Yes.
Kizomba Festival in Ghana.
Yeah, exactly. So we're spreading, man. But we love the Angola music. Well, I love the Angola music as well. So honorary.
One thing that is very surprising for me about Kizomba is that there's more expansion in Europe than there is in Africa.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
And that is being that is an African dance.
Yeah.
It's very surprising to me that it has more expansion, more popularity in Europe. I'll even say it in North America than in Africa.
Yeah.
We have so many different types of dance. In Africa, I mean, maybe because of that, but yeah, that's something that is very surprising to me.
What I wanted to ask you as well, what is kind of like the differences you've seen? So you're in Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
So between Germany, Canada, London, I was gonna say Angola, but I think we talked about that quite a lot. But what are kind of some of the differences that you see with Kizomba? Sorry, say again.
Use Cape Verde as an example too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Difference. So Cape Verde, Kizomba night doesn't exist.
Okay.
Doesn't exist in a sense because the youth is the one in Angola. So Angola and Cape Verde are having, in my opinion, and I mean my friends are kind of attesting to that too. We're having a generational cultural problem. What do I mean by generational cultural problem? The youth, for example, the youth in Cape Verde, they're not in tune with Kizomba. They're not in tune with Coladera. They're more in tune with Afrobeat. They're more in tune with hip hop. You know what I mean? Hip hop has always been there, but they're more in tune with this type of music. So whenever you go to a club, you're not gonna hear Kizomba. In Cape Verde, for sure you're not, right? Unless you go to a party that is a tailor party. Like say, for example, today this guy is doing and usually a Kizomba party will always be a old school. It will have an old school connotation to it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So if I say in Cape Verde, it would be very hard for you to go to a club, a normal club, and then they're playing Kizomba. That's not. Angola mainstream clubs, the same thing. You're not going to hear Kizomba. Forget about that. Now there's places that tailor specifically for Kizomba, and again they have the old school connotation. You know what I mean? Like say for example, you have like monthly parties, or there's also a place, and this is gonna be a shocker for you. It's a Kizomba party, but the main thing is salsa. This is in Angola.
Okay. Okay.
It's a salsa place that they play Kizomba at one point of the night. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, put it this way. You will dance more Kizomba right now in UK on a weekday than you will dance in Angola. We're talking about from Monday to Monday.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
for example, in UK, like let's just think of London. In
Yeah.
London on Monday, I can go there. I can go Tuesday there, Wednesday there, Thursday there, Friday. Oh my God, forget about it.
Yeah.
Friday, you could go there. Then there's the monthly parties from that person and this person. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's a lot.
Mhm.
Not even to mention that sometimes there's not even to mention the festivals that happen. You see where I'm going with this? So you will dance more Kizomba in London or in UK in general than you would in Angola, because in Angola there's like designated places.
Okay.
If you can't just out of the block, I'm gonna go party and that no.
Okay.
I'll go
Okay.
to that place Kizomba and salsa that day, or Kizomba na Rua, which is not really a club, it's just people in the streets and somebody with speakers playing Kizomba, and then you'll dance. Or a party that is tailored, a monthly party that is like that's how, you know what I mean? Cape Verde is even slimmer, right? Cape Verde is even slimmer. Maybe how like family parties, of course, that's what they will play. Like at weddings and things like that, yes. But we're talking about like going out at night. The same way that in London you go out at night and you're going to go to a hip hop and R&B club, or you're going to go to a Afrobeat club. We in Cape Verde you don't have that with regards to Kizomba. You don't have that well, you do have a little, you have in Angola, but it's not in abundance, especially because it comes from there. You feel that because it comes from there, you have it like in a huge abundance, right? But no, you don't. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting what you're saying about Angola. But so that's I mean, what is it? Why do people love Kizomba so much? Why is it taken? Why? Especially Europe, and I just, more in Europe than in Africa. What's the reason?
The reason, and here's my personal opinion. The one thing that Kizomba does, and I know people don't believe that, and Kizomba doesn't discriminate. As much as people think that, oh no, there's no Kizomba accepts everybody. Of course, that every community has its bad apples and this and that, but generally, Kizomba does not discriminate. Do you know what I mean? Like whether if you're rich, you're poor, you're tall, it doesn't. The moment you're in, you'll be accepted. That's just what it is, right? Yeah. That's the one thing, and then the second thing is that Kizomba in the festival format has levels, right? What do I mean by levels? What I like to do sometimes is I like to look at people's progression from the moment they jump in their first Kizomba class or their first Kizomba whatever to 3 years down the line. And what keeps people addicted is the levels of Kizomba. For example, how did you hear about Kizomba, if you don't mind me asking, the very first time?
It was through a friend of mine who, so a friend of mine just told me about Kizomba, who now happens to be my wife. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But yeah.
So I'm sure that she has a different journey too, right?
Well, it's basically, we used to dance salsa. Then she started.
That's exactly. I knew you were going to go there. That's where I wanted to get. That's where I wanted to get. So you started dancing salsa, and then for some reason now this party has 2 rooms, and then your wife or you just happens to veer off to that room and say, "Oh, what is that?" Well, it's Kizomba. Pretty interesting.
Exactly.
That's all. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna look at it and say, pretty interesting. You'll leave it. But then what's gonna happen is you're going to see 3 times more in 3 different parties that you're going to go. And now you know, okay, that was not just a fluke. This is something that is here. Let me find out more about it. That's the stage 1. The stage 1 is let me find out more about it. You're going to go in, and then maybe you're going to take a class, and you're going to be as clumsy as ever. You're going to say, this is not for me. This is not for me. Forget it.
It's literally how it happened.
Not for me. Oh my God, you're going to walk out.
Yeah.
But somehow It might not be the next month or the next week, but somehow Kizomba is going to circle around and come back to your life again. It will do it because you're going to salsa, you're going out. You will see Kizomba again, especially now that it's getting bigger and bigger. You're going to give it another try. It will not be great, but it won't be as bad as it was the very first time because now you're going in now. Oh my God, what is this? Now you're going in with the mindset of, okay, I know what is this, and last time, whatever, I'm just here to have fun, and you're going to have a little bit more fun than you had the previous time. Okay, not that great. Still, you'll say to yourself, I will still not prefer this over salsa. I still like my salsa, and this is something that I can probably. You go 3 times. And you go, by the time you get to your 5th time, you now know how to do a saída. And that's where the Kizomba hook begins. The moment you know how to do something, your next question is like, what else can I do? Do you see my point? You now want to learn how to do this. You want to learn how to do this. And then you're going to, okay, now what else? Now I need to go to a festival that has Kizomba. That's your next step. You go to the festival. Oh my God, I had a blast. I danced, met a whole lot of new people. This and whatnot. Those people are in touch with you. Hey, you know what? Did you like that festival? Yes, I did. Guess what? In 3 months, we're going to that festival. I mean, you see,
oh man,
right? It's levels. You're going to, by the time that you realize the last time you danced salsa was 4 months ago.
You are literally talking my story. Literally, that's just literally what happened. Literally, to the point now we're doing a podcast about Kizomba. We don't do salsa anymore.
You could have been in a podcast about salsa. You could have, but you're like, nah, right? And then, exactly. And then the part of Kizomba that now becomes the addiction is when it actually speaks to you, right? Because we all have things that naturally speak to us, right? Whether it's with music, with dancing, there's things that speak to us. For example, I've always liked hip hop and R&B. I love it. I play it. But if I tell you that in my soul that it speaks to me, I would be lying. I know the story. I know the A and B's, but it's in my core. It doesn't speak to me.
Yeah.
You, for example, you liked salsa. You know, it was great, but it didn't really speak to you. Do you know what I mean? It didn't speak to you. And Kizomba, you thought, oh my God, this thing speaks to me. I don't even know what the hell they're saying in the music, but I love it. Right? Like, I have no idea what they're saying in this song, but they might even say some obscene things in the song, but I don't care. I love it. Right? So that's the addiction of Kizomba. Right?
Sure is, man.
Start identifying yourself, and you can't get enough of it. Like, you wake up listening to Kizomba, you go to sleep listening to Kizomba. I know exactly what you mean.
You're like my therapist here, man, but it's all good. It's exactly, well, you answered the question anyway. So yeah, that's why people love it so much.
But yeah, that's the drug of Kizomba. It's the steps to it. It's the levels that people start, because you always find something new. Just when man. Okay, I've seen it all. Oh, wait a minute. Now I know this. You know what I mean? It's always a level to it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. No, great. So what are your hopes then? So obviously you've been DJing for a long time, you've been dancing for a long time, it's in your blood. What are your hopes for Kizomba in the future?
My number one hope is that Kizomba becomes mainstream. That's my number one hope. Because as much as we love to say that Kizomba is now popular, is this and that, reality is we're not mainstream yet. Right? So much so that if you go to a Spotify genre of music, you're not going to find Kizomba, right? Or in the world genre of music, you won't find the word. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, say, for example, a box right now in musical genre, you're probably going to find world, classical, this, that. You're not going to find Kizomba, right? So we're not mainstream yet.
Okay.
We can get there, but we're not yet, right?
Yeah.
That's my dream. My dream is that if you, for example, salsa, you go anywhere and they'll tell you, this is salsa. We know what is salsa. Do you know what I mean? So much so that sometimes to explain Kizomba, have to use salsa as a reference. Do you know what I mean? Like, say, for example, if somebody asks me, oh, DJ, what kind of music? I DJ Kizomba. Like, what is Kizomba? Kizomba, what is that?
Bit like salsa.
I have to explain, and the closest way that I have to explain is, do you know salsa? They're like, yeah, I know salsa. Well, it's kind of like that, but not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to say the same thing. So yeah.
As a reference to explain, that tells me that Kizomba is not a mainstream
Yeah.
music or dance, right?
Yeah.
And that's my dream. My dream is that Kizomba becomes a mainstream music and dance. We do have potential to do so. So yeah.
No, that's and we'll definitely. Well, it's definitely going to happen. So that's definitely going to happen.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt
100%.
Hopefully, it's in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully,
I just want to thank you again for joining us, because we've had a great conversation here. But before we let you go, there's a couple more questions for you. I just want to find out. Well, I want you to tell us what are some of the future projects that you have going on for yourself personally. Where can we find you? All those kind of things.
Thank you so much for giving me the floor, because I'm gonna kind of do a little plug here for my friends. So for those in the UK that don't know, or around the world that's going to be watching this, I host a festival in Toronto called Talk the Weekend. It happens in the month of May, from the 17th of May all the way to the 21st of May. All right. Obviously, I have we have an amazing line of instructors, and the goal, one of the main goals in my festival, is to expose music and dance at the same time. So that's why I always have a singer, right? Because I really strongly believe that every person that dances to a song needs to know who sings that song. Gotta be. I blindly believe in that. You cannot tell me, oh my God, this is my favorite song. You don't even know who sings it, right? That union has to be. So that's one of the major points of Talk the Weekend is in Toronto. As I said again, from the 17th to the 21st of May every year. We never change. Well, we change the dates sometime, maybe 1 weekend before. No, maybe 1 weekend after, but never before. So that's the Talk Festival. I'm also a co-partner on another festival, and this is for the people in the UK. I know that going to Toronto might not be as appealing. Obviously, it's costly, and I understand all that. But there's also another event that I'm part with. It's in Tenerife. It calls Azembora Tenerife Kizomba Festival. I'm partner. It's myself, Rico, and Kako Palazuela. So we're basically on this venture together. Obviously, that's another event that I highly, highly, highly recommend, especially people from the UK, because this event I know that flights to Tenerife in UK, they tend to be quite accessible. Okay, this event happens from the 3rd of October all the way to the 7th. It's a 5 days 5-day event. The reason why it's a 5-day event is because it's in a resort, all inclusive resort. Prices are amazing. Like the prices are very, very affordable. All inclusive resort. Like we're talking about food, open bar, right? For drink enthusiasts. So they have open bar there, and the prices are really amazing. Plus Tenerife, great weather at all times. So yeah, check it out. Anybody that wants to know more about these events, you can always send me a DM on Facebook or on WhatsApp. Or on Instagram. So yeah, those are the major events that I'm part of it right now. And if you're ever in Hamburg, I host every other Sunday. I host a matinee Kizomba night here in Hamburg. If you're ever in Hamburg, hit me up. I'll let you know what days are happening, and you can come and check it out. Those are the ones that are involved right now.
Yeah, right now.
Future, I have a few projects coming up, including a podcast as well.
Oh, great.
Which we already did one, but we're kind of, I want to branch out to a different style of podcast. That's one of them. And also an event here in Hamburg. I used to have an event here in Hamburg called Jinga. I was partners with another person here in Hamburg. The event stopped, but I want to be able to have an event here in Hamburg. It's coming in. It's coming in the near future. And yeah, those are the events. Those are my projects at this point in time.
Great. So it's just Gallo on Instagram and Facebook.
So on Facebook is Gallo Super, and on Instagram is Super Gallo 26.
Okay, so you heard it there, people. That's how you get in touch.
Oh my God, DJ Galo 26.
DJ Galo 26. Okay, you heard it again.
I always get confused between both. So yeah, those are the places that you guys can always reach me, either Instagram or Facebook.
No, cool. You're great at what you do.
Thank you.
There might be people listening or watching this thinking, you know what, I want to be a DJ, or I want to get involved. I want to do that. You know, I've got a passion for it.
Mhm.
What advice you give me to that?
Advice number one, I know it's going to sound very, very corny. It's going to sound very cheesy. Don't let people tell you that you cannot do otherwise. Because the easiest thing to do is quit, especially after somebody tells you don't really have a feel for this. And that's the number one advice that I tell. Don't let people tell you how you should do it. Not what to do. Not that you should not do it. Sorry, is how you should do it. Don't let people tell you how you should do it. The reason why I say that's because one of the most important things about being a DJ is creating an identity. You have to create your own identity, right? And when people tell you how you should go about it or how you should, it's no longer yours. It's someone else tailoring something for you, if that makes any sense, right? You have to create your own identity. That's number one. And number two, just pick up a laptop or whatever and start doing it. Just start doing it. Like, I know it sounds very, but what do you mean by start? Do a party at home, DJ for your friends. Every time you have friends over, DJ for them, and go from there. Just start doing whatever it is. Just start doing it. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Take action and just start.
Yeah,
that's great advice. So anybody thinking of becoming a DJ, and just listen to that. So that's great. Thank you, Gallo. Look, I keep saying just before we let you go, but we got one more thing, right?
So, yeah.
We got some questions on Kizomba Conversations that we like to just have a bit of fun with, right?
Okay.
So we have 3 cards.
Right.
Yeah. You can see the different colors.
Yellow and red, is that correct?
Yeah. So yeah, red, yellow, and green as well.
Yes.
Right. So
I have to pick one.
Well, you got to pick 2. Yeah.
2.
And the last one I'll answer. But so tell me which color you like to go for.
I want to go for the red one.
Red one.
Right.
Okay. So the red one question is, we may have touched on this already, but it says, how has the Kizomba scene changed since you first started DJing? I'm going to say. How
has it changed since I first started DJing? It became bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah, it's gotten bigger. That's how I would say it changed. Yeah, it's gotten way bigger.
Yeah, because I think we spoke about how international it's got and that. But okay, yeah, so it's got bigger. All right. Next one.
I'll go for the green.
Okay. So if your music device was stuck on one Kizomba song continuously, what would it be? Your music device is just stuck. You can't play anything else. So currently, right now, what would that song be?
Currently, right now, what would that song be? Okay. It would be, I'm going to say this one just because that's what I'm feeling right now. It's a song by Yuri da Cunha and it's called Lamento de Garina.
Lamento de Garina. Okay.
Yeah, that's the title. It's a Yuri da Cunha and Brasilia.
Okay. All right.
Featuring Yuri da Cunha.
Okay.
Because that's the song that I'm like literally vibing to right now.
That's what you're vibing to now, yeah?
It's full of energy. Every time you drop, people are always like on the dance floor, like nonstop. And it's not only in the Kizomba, even in Angola too.
Okay.
So it's like, to me, it's the banger of the moment to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So people, make sure you check it out.
Yeah.
Go for it. Okay. All right.
So, by Brasilia and Yuri da Cunha. Yeah.
You heard it here. Okay. Yeah. Last question, the one you avoided, yellow. So for me, I would have liked to have seen what you said to this. But anyway, it says, if you could invite a famous person, dead or alive, to dance Kizomba with you, who would it be and why? What a great question.
To follow or to lead or just to...
Well, it's not specific, but I guess just to dance with. So if you could invite a famous person, dead or alive, to dance Kizomba with you, who would it be and why? But that's my question. It's not yours. Okay. But you can think about it and answer it as well.
You see if I understand that. When we're talking about famous person, are we talking about outside of the Kizomba realm?
Yeah, anybody. So a famous person, dead or alive, who you like to dance Kizomba with, who would it be and why would it be them?
Ooh, that's a toughy one. Do you know why? I would say, wow, that's I know I have one. It's gonna sound very weird, but it's mine. Cesaria Evora.
Who is?
Evora. Cesaria
Ah,
Evora, she's like the queen of Morna.
ah.
Morna from Cape Verde.
Okay.
Like, I would say the most famous Cape Verdean person.
I see. Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
It would be her.
That's okay. All right. Cool. And why her though? In particular, what's the specific?
Because of her, Cape Verdean music. I say because of her, I would say globally, Cape Verdean music became known.
Right.
She's won if I'm not mistaken, a Grammy.
Grammy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be her.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So because it was my question, I have to answer it, right? But thanks for your answer. So my one's a bit strange, a bit weird, a bit different. So do you know Paula Abdul?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was
So
so you think you can dance or something like that.
yeah, she was on American something. Go on. Yeah, one of those things.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah, something. But the point of it is she is just an outstanding dancer. Not just an outstanding dancer, she's a choreographer for so many people. Lots of celebrities you've ever seen, it's her choreography that has did it.
Paula. Okay.
Yeah, and she is a dancer, dancer, right? So it would be really interesting.
I feel bad I didn't pick a dancer.
No, that's cool. No, it's cool. But it'd be really interesting to see how she takes to Kizomba and how she kind of makes it her own and how she gets into rhythm. It would be really
right.
I would love to dance with her on that.
Of that. No, that's a good choice. That's a very, very good choice. Because now you're making me wonder what other dancers that you would try to put them to. Can you Jackson dancing Kizomba?
Yeah. So that might be another question I have for another guest. But yeah, thank you. So you give me another question to have.
Thank you.
But listen, Gallo, listen, man, it's been a great conversation. It's exactly what we're here for, to talk things Kizomba. I've learned so many things, and it's been great to have you, your energy and everything else. And like I say, maybe hopefully we can have you back.
Yep.
Lots to talk about.
I want to say thank you to you. I appreciate you so much for doing this and further expanding Kizomba, putting Kizomba in the map with platforms such as yours. Say hi to your wife. Big shout out to your wife.
I will. Well, you know what? The funny thing is, she introduced me to Kizomba, and that's the reason why we're sitting here, right? So it has to go back to her. So
shout out to her.
You know what it is.
So much. Well, I'd be happy to be back whenever you are willing to have me again. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So everybody, as always, thank you for tuning in. Let us know what you thought of the episode, comments and everything. And like I always say, keep dancing, and we hopefully will see you on the dance floor. Peace.
Peace.